Well, ahead of Thursday's opening of Parliament, we continue to look at how the democratic presidents of South Africa have each left their own personal imprint on our nation's psyche. In the second instalment, contributing editor Vuyo Mvoko looks back at Thabo Mbeki's nearly 2 terms in office through the eyes of those who were touched by his work for better or for worse.
Not since the day Thabo Mbeki succeeded Nelson Mandela has the transfer of power from one ANC president to another been as swift and uncontested. Mbeki had in fact been running cabinet already. One former minister in his biography claims Mbeki had everyone, in and outside of the executive, eating out of the palm of his hand. It was during this time, in 1996, that the Growth, Employment and Redistribution Strategy was introduced, underpinned by rapid liberalization of the economy through the relaxation of trade and exchange rate controls, deficit reduction, and strict monetary and fiscal policies. The ANC-aligned COSATU was livid.
The program was not discussed in the tripartite alliance. We were told basically 2 days before it was publicized. I remember very well Deputy President then, Thabo Mbeki, when announcing it, arrogantly asked that he be called a Thatcherite. We were disgusted. We were very angry.
When Mbeki formally moved to occupy the driver's seat, following his 1999 election as president, he moved things up another gear. Those around him at the time still feel he was justified.
Mainly President Mbeki, but also the ANC itself had concerns about the risk of South Africa losing her economic sovereignty. And if we get into debt and a situation where we have to run to the multilateral financial institutions quite early within first 10 years, taking over, that would have reflected very badly on the ANC. So there was that pride and saying that this should not happen under our watch.
I am an African.
It was also during this period that South Africa claimed its place under the sun, playing an influential role both on the continent and in the rest of the world.
The agenda that sought to move Africa away from aid to trade was about, we don't want to be a dependent in the world system. We want to be a player of equal standing with everybody else. And one of the conditions to enable that for a continent as rich as ours was peace.
Domestically, however, a storm was brewing. His stance on the use of antiretroviral drugs was controversial and led to hundreds of thousands of HIV-positive people not receiving life-saving drugs. The black economic empowerment policy he so vigorously drove was being criticized for enriching only a few politically well-connected individuals.
The intentions were good. And also the fact that the ANC under his leadership had courage to do something to address the issue, in my view, should be commended. No one could have foreseen possibly that things will turn out the way that they have turned out.
In neighboring Zimbabwe, the opposition MDC, which was formed by the country's workers, accused the Mbeki administration of aiding the subversion of democracy in that country. In 2005, when Mbeki fired his deputy Jacob Zuma over corruption allegations, COSATU, its ally the SACP, activists and some ANC leaders rallied behind their embattled number 2.
We should have never opposed President Mbeki when he fired him literally as a deputy president, because we refused to listen to the facts.
2 years later, at the ANC elective conference in Polokwane in Limpopo, the two were up against each other. Mbeki lost, and the following year he was recalled as the country's president. For Newzroom Afrika Channel 405, I am Vuyo Mvoko in Johannesburg.